Hello and welcome. It is Feminine Fridays. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Laura. Great to be here. And I love our new platform of talking about positive words.
We are talking about positive words, and we brainstormed a whole list, and we have a really juicy one today. And in light of it being September 11th, I think it's a really good one, actually. And the word is generosity.
Mm.
Generosity. Um, and, you know, regarding that today is September 11th, but being generous with ourselves, being generous with others, to me means being kinder, being appreciative that, everybody's going through whatever they're going through, and we don't know what that is. And how can we be generous in our nature and the way we just approach people?
Yes, I love that. Generosity is one of my favorite words. It's actually in one of my what I call my divine coordinates. And
Mm.
my own personal definition for generosity is that I contribute to the collective.
Mm. In a positive way, I hope.
In a positive way. I'm always in a positive way, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, how do we contribute? And that could be in, resources, in your time. Like, what does that actually look like to really connect with someone and just be present and be generous in the moment?
Yeah. It means giving up something of oneself, like that maybe wouldn't be beneficial to another. So it doesn't always mean just giving money to. Like it's very generous to give money. Yes. Okay. But actually that's the easiest form of generosity. Generosity can be much deeper and much more challenging, especially when we're going through something and we feel like, oh my God, the world is at us, you know? So I have the right to not be generous or to be not positive or kind. And the most generous thing to do is to pause and see if you can give up any of that energy in place of something that you're actually being willing to give of your time, like you said, of your, give more positivity is a generous thing versus negativity.
Right. Well, and in relationships, like what is it that we are giving in relationships? Carrie and I are celebrating on Sunday our 7-year anniversary, and just really looking at, we've carved out this weekend just to be together and just be in that place of generosity, of each other's time, of our love, of spending, just acknowledging that, right? And sometimes in the hectic schedules of things that are happening, we aren't always our best self or showing up in that way, and
Mhm.
that is a way to be generous with the people that we love the most and that we want to connect with, is just being able to carve out that time together.
Yeah, being willing to put down the phone when you're in front of somebody and just give them your FaceTime too is very generous.
Yes.
So taking that time as a couple to be present with each other is just beautiful to give to each other. And here's another generosity idea. Well, hi, Lindsay, right? And she's like, hello, ladies. And it's very generous to comment, to interact on social media from just a social when you're doing it positively and you're enforcing and reinforcing people. So, hi, Lindsay. Thank you for your generosity and being here, giving us your time. Right? We really appreciate it. We carve time out of our lives to give. This definitely gives to me, but we hope that it also gives to you. So, thanks for the love that we see here and for the interaction. And I think generosity promotes gratitude, and gratitude promotes joy, and joy promotes love. I mean, it's just like this big mushroom cloud of positivity, and that's our new phase of Feminine Fridays, right?
Right. And I love how you mentioned about having generosity in social media. And I think just setting the intention that if you just say something like just positive and uplifting, and, just a comment can make a really big difference. I remember talking to a friend of mine. She said, it's easy to put like a thumbs up or a heart or something on someone's site, but to actually just say, like, hello, beautiful, or I hope you have a wonderful day, or I love what you're up to, or thank you for what you're sharing. Just one or two words that we can actually post on other people. Just think about the ripple effect, the generosity of spirit. If, everyone just said one positive thing, it may be the only positive thing that person receives that day. And just think about the ripple effect of that. And I love the idea of that.
Yeah, I like to call it a love fest. Go have a love fest out on social media and be able to give the hearts and the thumbs up, like you said, and the additional words of praise, of endorsement, of just edification of other people. Because when we're out networking in the world, what we do when we can do it is we give a handshake, right? And that's, a handshake on social media is asking someone to be a friend. But then how do you build that relationship? You do things that are generous. The first rule of networking in my mind is giving. Give first, give always. We have the book, The Go Giver by Jim Burgess, something like that. I'm sorry, Jim Berg. I or Joe. We'll look it up. I'll put it in the in our area below. So, but being generous is how you build relationships. Really, from the get go, we know that in business, we know it in our personal lives. So, I'd love to hear how people like to be generous online and offline.
Mhm. Yeah. It's such a powerful word because, and I love how you talk about being generous to ourself, right? What are some of the ways you can be generous to yourself? And, are there things that have been happening in your space that maybe you're being hard on yourself? And so how can you actually be more gentle with that
Mm.
and look at how whatever may be popping up, maybe look on the other side of whatever's happening, especially if something feels negative or feels challenging or feels heavy. What's the opposite of that? What's the lesson in that? How can you be generous with yourself to uplift yourself from that and actually learn from that, and maybe ask yourself some questions in terms of like, how did this happen for me? Right. And that can be a really generous expression of yourself of like, you know what, if it isn't just this challenging thing that's happening, but it's actually happening for me and there's something that is useful with it that I can move through it, then that is just being, open and generous to ourself and loving to ourselves to, be able to move through things.
Yes, yes, and allowing ourselves to have the downtime and the down feelings, even feelings that are not our positive feelings. If we're generous with ourselves enough to allow space for them and like just look at them like, okay, you're here now. I'm not sure what this is all about, but I'm open to it. I'm open to having this, like, versus pushing it away and trying to distract ourselves and then getting into some negative energy because it always comes out sideways. But if we allow it to be and we're generous with ourselves, it allows it to process through us and come out the other side to something more positive, allowing us to be more generous in the world.
Mhm.
So we want to even though we're all about being positive, we're not about like faking it necessarily. Because, stuff happens in life. Things
Right.
aren't always comfortable. Sometimes our lives feel like a roller coaster emotionally. But if we
Mhm.
can ride those emotions and then be generous with those emotions to ourselves, like meaning try not to stuff them down, but allow them to be and have their say, because I believe that our emotions are our soul's way of talking to us. And a
Mhm.
lot of times it feels like Chinese, like, I don't understand. Why do I feel this way? Like, but if you listen long enough, you could osmosis something from it,
Right.
you'll understand it.
Right. Well, and if we're embracing all of the human experience, I mean, we're on a continuum, right? I mean, sometimes we don't appreciate the highest of highs if we've not experienced the lowest of lows, right? And really understanding what that can feel about. One example that I was just thinking about, I just did a preview on a friend of mine who wrote a book who, in an act of just generosity and being open of heart and spirit, decided to date a woman who was in stage 4 cancer. And he shares their love story that basically they had like a 4-month relationship because she passed away. But the fact that he stepped into that and was open to that and learned so much from it and had so much connection and love, to me, that was just such an example of just amazing generosity, of just
Yeah.
spirit and love, and to just be all in, knowing that just with the parameters of her health experience, that it wasn't going to be this long-term thing, and the parameters that we sometimes put around love and what that looks like. It was such an opening of generosity for myself to really look at what are the conditions that we sometimes put in expressing love and being that. And I thought that was just such a beautiful example of just like, I don't care. I'm going to love this person for as much time as I have, and whatever it looks like, I'm all in.
That's great. I see a movie in this, like one of those very inspirational type movies. So I
Yes.
can't wait to watch it. I hope it comes out someday or something like it. So any of you broadcasters and playwrights out there, go for it. Sounds like it just sounds like a such an unusual opportunity, and that he actually went for, because so many people live in a state of fear, like, no, I would never do that to myself, because losing would, I don't know that I could experience and handle that loss. And you find the resilience, and the benefit, it far outweighs it, is from what I'm hearing. I have never done that one, but
Yeah.
it seems like it would. And what a gift, to himself, and like you said, to others. So
Mhm.
how are you being generous out there in the world? We appreciate your love here. We appreciate your presence with us. Share with us what you would love to, how you're being generous. And we've shared throughout the feminine power cards that there's so much we can do to be the role models of positivity in the world. And I think that's, my mission on social media is to use it for social good, to bringing, and I know you're about that too, and to bringing forth more kindness, more generosity, more love, like we talked about last time. And I can't wait for our next topic.
Absolutely. So we'd love to hear, like, what are you doing this weekend to be more generous with yourself, with the people that you love, and even just being out and about. Whatever your plans are, to just kind of implant in the back of your mind that whatever you're doing this weekend, that you're coming from this place of generosity and just that energy. Even if you don't even speak the word generosity to people, that just who you're being, people feel it, right?
Yeah, because a look can be very generous. So many people are like looking down at somebody in New York yesterday. Tell me all I'm doing is looking down. I'm like, why aren't you looking into people's eyes? I know it feels scary, but if you look in people's eyes and you give a nice smile, or you're just acknowledging or a nod, it's very generous to do. Wow, like, what if we every time, especially if you're wearing a mask these days and you're out, I always wave. I want people to know I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Like, someone's got your back here, and I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you in my neighborhood. I appreciate that. I want people to feel acknowledged, and almost heard, like that they matter. That, and even if they don't wave back not half the time, but every once in a while somebody doesn't wave back, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that's about. It's very curious to me. So if anybody has any clues as why somebody wouldn't wave back, I mean, I'm like waving, and there's nobody else around, right? It's like, hi, and they can't see I'm smiling, but I'm waving, and so it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. When we never know where people are coming from or what's going on with them. And so all we can do is control our side of the street and still do those things where we're smiling and waving and connecting, and just be that burst, because, even if they don't react in the moment, they feel it, it's in there. And so we've done our part.
Very cool. Yes. So do your part. Be out there. Be uh, be on our squad, our generosity squad, and come back with your stories. We want to hear them. So, what are the stories of generosity? I love yours today. That and wait, are you waving to people? Are you sending love notes out on social media? Are you sending love notes out in the mail? I actually have a whole system called greetingcardassistant.com or transformtodaycards.com, and you can send out love notes to people in the mail from your computer. You don't have to go out out and buy a card. You can make a card or create a card with your own signature and everything, just by doing that. So go sprinkle some love out there.
I love it.
One way or
Awesome.
another. That's great. All right, Diane, I think that's very generous today. We've been very,
Absolutely.
very generous. We'll
Uh,
put a little deposit in our generosity bank. Be sure to put some in other people's banks too.
Definitely. Well, sending love out to all of our friends, and enjoy your weekend. And definitely put in there for us what were some of the things that came up. What are some of your generosity stories? Because we definitely want to hear them.
Yeah, can't wait. Bye for now.
Bye bye.